Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. As you can see from the title of this video, let's talk about renting a property from the tenant's perspective. Renting is definitely easier than buying, but to people who are new to this, the entire process might be a little more complicated than you originally thought. When it comes to renting a place, there are basically two things you need to figure out first: budget and location. Everything else, for example your expectations, basically works around your budget and location. Say for example you want a 2-bedroom condo in downtown Toronto for like $1,000. Like, something is gonna change, whether it's your budget or your location or the type of property you want. Now that you have a rough idea of what you want, it's time to go for apartment/house hunting. Basically, the concept is very simple. You look at a series of places, ideally in person, and then make decisions as you go. If you like the place, you'll try to reach an agreement with the landlord, and then sign a standard Ontario residential tenancy agreement with them. The Ontario RTA is absolutely necessary. It's basically the most important piece of document the government will base off of should there be a dispute. That sounds simple enough, right? But hold up, there are more stuff to it. When you're renting with a realtor, and I know a lot of people are wondering if an agent is absolutely necessary, and the short answer is no, but I'll discuss it further in my next video. When you go with an agent, for example me, this is how the entire process with me will go. On the first date we meet, we'll see some properties that meet your criteria. But also on that day, I'll explain to you of what I do and bring you a checklist of all the documents you need. When you see a property you like, we'll need those documents to prepare an offer, which is basically like an application package. If the landlord likes our offer, that's great. If they don't, we'll try and negotiate. If we don't reach an agreement or they have a better offer, then that's fine. We'll move on to the next one. When they liked our offer, they'll sign it. And then the first thing you need to do is to provide your deposit check, which is usually within 24 hours. After that, we'll usually prepare a separate Ontario RTA. And while you're waiting to moving in, you usually need to fulfill some mutually agreed items during the time period. When the moving date gets closer, we'll arrange some ways for you to get those keys as well as provide all the necessary items to get them. That's just to give you a rough idea. Now, let me get into the details of the documents part. Initially, when we are preparing offers, there are a list of things we'll need. First, we'll need a photo ID from you, which is ideally a driver's license. And then your credit check. And some of the bigger companies' name includes Equifax, Credit Karma, and TransUnion. And then we'll need your employment letter and pay stub from the previous 3 months. Some optional ones include a guarantor or your proof of savings. And then we'll need your rental application form, which is basically your personal information that, for example, asks for your previous and current addresses and references people. Last but not least, we'll need your email address and your phone number. Basically, an ideal tenant from the landlord's eye is someone with high credit score and a high income stable job. And that's how they know you can afford paying rent every month. So if you are a student or for some reason you don't have a job, you need to find ways around that. The first thing is to try and find a guarantor. So someone who guarantees that you can pay the rent. And how do they guarantee that? By providing the above documents themselves. So high credit score and a stable high income job. And what they're guaranteeing is that if you couldn't or didn't pay rent, they will pay the rent for you. So they are on the hook, meaning the landlord will go after them if anything goes wrong. And that's why a guarantor is the best alternative, but understandably quite hard to find. So if you don't have a job and you don't have a guarantor, what do you do now? One way is to provide them proof of savings. Basically, the amount of money sitting in your bank account. Just note that it's not a very strong document or evidence, and what's enough is completely subjective from one person to another. But I'll say it's better than nothing. If all failed, the only way you can increase your competitiveness is to increase your deposit amount. And that's what a lot of first-time international renters do. And I've seen cases where people are willing to put their entire year's rent up front as deposit, but still getting rejected when they are first-time international immigrants. And that's because most landlords are not comfortable with someone who has no history in Canada, and so they don't know how reliable they are when they have no credit scores. Anyways, that's all of the documents needed for making an offer. Just note that some of them might take a couple days to get, so better get them ready before you find a place you really want. When the landlord signs back the offer, you'll need to provide a deposit within 24 hours, usually in forms of certified check or bank draft. And then some of the usual items tenants are responsible for includes key deposit, proof of opening utility accounts, and tenant insurance. There's also one additional point you need to know. Most landlords are not familiar with email transfer, especially if they are middle-aged or older. So they will ask for post-dated checks, which is pretty standard. But if you don't have them, just know that ordering a checkbook from your bank can take up to 10 business days. And usually on the day you move in, you should be bringing those post-dated checks with you. So just something you need to be aware of so you can order them early. I hope I explained the renting process with all of the documents you need clear enough, or at least useful for the next time you need to find a place. Let me know if you have any additional questions or anything I need to clarify more in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.